So what exactly happens when we want to sell a bond before maturity, and exactly what is its fair market value going to be? We can go ahead and answer these two questions with a little bit of an example. So here, let's introduce a few concepts. So see what happens when we want to sell bond, before maturity. Before maturity. So let's go ahead and break this down into two different periods in order to see exactly the fair market value of a bond. So here, suppose that we are currently in year number 1. So this is going to be our current time period. And during this current year, we notice that general interest rates are equal to 5%. So general interest rates are equal to 5%. So this is going to be the interest rate that we see on the loanable funds market. And because we are simplifying our bond analysis, that tells us that anytime a corporation, firm, or the government wants to issue a bond, that tells us that they need to issue a bond that has a coupon rate of 5% as well. So here, we're going to take the general interest rate, and this is going to tell us exactly what the coupon rate on all new bonds issued during this year should be. So here, all bonds issued this year, have a coupon rate of 5%. Have a coupon rate. So all bonds issued during this year are going to have a coupon rate of 5% as well. So something to keep in mind, anytime bonds are going to be issued for a current year, they're going to take the general interest rate as that coupon rate. Suppose that the bonds that we take a look at, once again, they have a face value of $1,000. And let's go ahead and put the coupon payment down as well. So how do we get the coupon payment, the specific dollar amount? We just take the coupon rate and multiply by the face value. So that tells us that our coupon payment is equal to $50. So here we have the coupon percentage, the coupon rate percentage, and the coupon payment, the specific dollar amount. Just multiply the coupon rate times the face value to get this coupon payment. So every single year, we're going to be receiving $50 as a coupon payment. In order for us to find out the fair market value of the bond, we need to introduce the idea of the yield. So the yield is just a really fancy way of saying what the return of the bond is going to be. So the percentage return earned over the life of a bond. Earned over life of bond. So anytime we want to talk about the return on your investment, but we're talking about the bond market, we consider this to be the yield or the interest rate that we can sort of say. So here, the yield, we have a formula that goes along with that. It's going to be equal to the interest payment, or the coupon payment, divided by the price or the market price of a bond. So we want to be specific about that. So the market price of bond. So do we have values to insert into this equation in order to find out the yield on a bond? Yeah, absolutely. So the interest payment, the coupon payment is equal to $50. Go ahead and put that on top. And the market price of a bond, remember, because this is our current year, all new bonds issued during this year, the face value has to equal the market price. So here we have $1,000 on the bottom right here. So here, when we take the interest payment, the coupon payment, divided by the market price of a bond, this will give us the yield on a bond, and the yield here is 5%. So 50 divided by 1,000, you can multiply by 100 to get the percentage there. But here we have 5%. We have a 5% yield on this particular bond. So what do we notice about this particular percentage right here, this 5%? It's exactly equal to the coupon rate. And this is going to be inherent from the fact because this is when the bond is first issued. So the face value has to equal the market price when bonds are first issued. And also because of this fact, it tells us that the yield also has to equal the coupon rate as well. So once again, something to keep in the back of your mind, the yield will equal the coupon rate in the same year. So just once again simplifying the bond analysis that we've laid out in the previous section. But now suppose that we want to go ahead and sell the bond in year number 2. But in year number 2, a few of the market forces have changed. So in year number 2, the next year, we notice that the interest rates have actually increased to 8%. So interest rates increase to 8%. Increase to 8%. So something happens within the loanable funds market that causes the interest rates to increase to 8%. The question that we want to go ahead and ask is, you bought this 5% bond in the previous year, but you want to go ahead and sell it in year number 2. What would be the fair market value of that bond? Will it go up in value? Will it go down in value? Or will it stay exactly the same price? So the question that we want to go ahead and ask is, has the value of your 5% bond, gone up in value, gone up or down in value? So here, out of parentheses, there should be a question mark. So here, has the value of your 5% bond gone up or down in value? So let's use a little bit of intuition. So in year number 2, if companies want to issue bonds, they're going to be issuing bonds that have an 8% coupon rate because that's exactly what interest rates are. So how much of a coupon in dollar amount would that be issuing for if anyone wanted to buy a bond in year number 2? It would be giving you $80 in a coupon or interest payment every single year. How does this compare to your 5% bond? Your 5% bond is only giving you $50 a year. So here, when we compare your 5% bond against your 8% bond, it's giving you $50 compared to $80. It just makes it less attractive. So your 5% bond is less attractive to new bonds that are issued during this year. Because it is seen as less attractive, what should that tell you about the value of your bond? It should go down in value. And in order to find out the fair market price of the bond, we can use this yield equation right here. Just algebraically manipulate it a little bit. So the price of our 5% bond. So the market price of our 5% bond, we want to solve for this market price of the bond on the denominator. So we're going to multiply it on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. We're going to bring the yield down on the bottom right here. So the market price of our bond is going to be equal to the interest payment divided by the yield. So here, if we just want to go ahead and get a general sort of formula for this, we can say the market price of a bond, market price of bond is equal to the interest payment or the coupon payment, interest payment, divided by the yield on all new bonds in this particular year. So in order to find the price of our 5% bond, we algebraically manipulated our yield equation, and we come to this equation right here, where the market price of a bond is equal to the interest payment divided by the yield. So knowing this, let's go ahead and insert these numbers right here. What is the interest payment on our 5% bond? It's equal to $50. That doesn't change. But what's the yield on all new bonds? All new bonds are issued at 8% interest rates at the 8% coupon rate. So therefore, the yield also has to equal to 8%. And you want to go ahead and turn this yield into decimal form. Don't take it as a whole number. So here in decimal form, 0.08. This will give us 50 divided by 0.08. So our price of our 5% bond is equal to $625. So if we actually wanted to go ahead and sell off our 5% bond in year number 2, the most anyone would actually want to go ahead and pay for it is $625. No longer would they want to pay $1,000. Our bond, our 5% bond, is now seen as less attractive because bonds issued in year number 2 are now giving us $80 or 8% yield, and therefore it's going to be seen as more attractive there. So as we notice, when yields go up, that tells us that bond prices are going to go down, or when interest rates go up, bond prices go down. So there is going to be an inverse relationship between the interest rate and bond prices. So bond prices fluctuate in response to forces of the market price. Bond prices and interest rates do move in opposite directions. So let's go ahead and see the opposite case. What happens if interest rates actually decrease in the next year? So suppose interest rates decrease to 3%. Suppose interest rates fall to 3%. Fall to 3% instead. So instead of going up to 8%, suppose that interest rates actually fall to 3% instead. What do you think should happen to the price of your 5% bond? Intuitively, the price of your 5% bond should go up in value because we just learned that bond prices and interest rates move in opposite directions. So price of 5% bond. Remember, now all new bonds are issued during this particular year are now yielding you only 3% or a $30 coupon. So your 5% bond is seen as much, much more attractive, and therefore the price should reflect that. Once again, use this equation right here. Interest payment or the coupon payment divided by the yield. The coupon payment on our 5% bond is still $50. All new bonds issued during this year are giving you 3%, so that's going to go on the bottom right here, 0.03. Remember to change this into a percent, into a decimal form, change the percent into decimal form. And when you go ahead and do that, you're going to notice that if anyone wanted to take that 5% bond off of your hand, they are going to want to go ahead and pay you $1,666.67. So that's actually the fair market value of your bond. So with all of this, remember that the market price of a bond can absolutely change, and it does depend on exactly market forces. And specificity, it's going to be the interest rate, the general interest rates in a given year. So as bond prices go up, we notice that, hey, the interest rate probably fell. As the interest rate went up, then bond prices are going to fall instead. So remember, there is an inverse relationship between the interest rates and the prices of bond. However, you don't necessarily have to sell the bond before it matures. You can absolutely hold onto the bond, and this entire analysis is pretty much going to be moot in this instance. But suppose that you want to go ahead and sell the bond before it matures, you can absolutely go ahead and do so. So with all of this, we've already hit on the major sort of key factors of all the bond processes and exactly how to price bonds. We have the yield of a bond. We can algebraically manipulate this equation right here in order to find the market price of a bond. It's going to be the price of a bond equals to the interest payment or the coupon payment divided by the yield on all new bonds issued during this particular year. One more example to bring this up, just using different numbers right here. So $1,000 face value once again, coupon rate of 10%, which gives us $100 every single year. The fair market value of a bond issued during the current year is $1,000. But if in the next year interest rates fall to 5%, remember there is going to be an inverse relationship. So the price of our bond should increase. We go ahead, take the coupon payment divided by the yield on all new bonds. So the fair market value of our 10% coupon bond is going to be $2,000 now. So with all of this, we have an idea of how bonds work, the entire process of from maturity, from the initial starting point all the way to maturity. We know the components of a bond contract. And finally, we also know what happens to the fair market value of a bond if we want to sell it before maturity. With this in mind, we want to go ahead and turn our attention to the second sort of financial sort of asset that where we can invest our money and gain a higher rate of return, and that's going to be a stock market. So we want to do a quick compare and contrast of the bond market versus the stock market and see exactly why a lot of people like to invest in stocks as well. I'll see you guys there.